Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Saving Mr. Billhorn. Now don't you dare get me Norman Cole, wrong little person. I am no saint. I am not a traditionally good person, and I definitely am not a pure person according to the religious nutters, but I get results, and most importantly, I actually help people. I don't sit in a stone building and pray all day, hoping for some magic powder to be sprinkled down from heaven to save lives. No. I actually go to where people need help, and I get the job done. Not always legally, ethically, or morally, but I bring home the person in need of help. And before you ask, I don't really know where my attitude came from, but I passed basic and advanced military training with flying colors, but I never ever got to serve in the military because they really didn't want some fag in their ranks, so they beat me, punished me for beating them, and then, well, there was a little firearms incident one night. Of course, I didn't kill them. Their guns killed them, and since the military didn't want a fag screaming about all the discrimination he had suffered, well, they agreed, and couldn't prove murder, to sweep it all away. I was given a pension, a payoff, and I got to keep my weapons. So now I help people. It was an awful cold, bitter, icy late afternoon, as I hid inside a large green hedgerow in the south of England, watching my target red brick detached house. It might have been damp in the hedge, filled with little twigs, leaves, and something that I was telling myself was a wet blanket behind me, as it licked my fingers. No, it wasn't a rat. I wasn't allowing myself to think that, but I needed to be one with the hedge. The view out from the hedge was a rather wonderful garden, with a square-shaped lawn that was covered in icy frost, making the blades of grass look like little shiny daggers in the dying sunlight, and it really did look magical. Rows upon rows of baby apple trees, roses, and other dead trees littered and lined the garden. I didn't know if the person who owned the house actually liked their garden or not. It was a classic blend of chaos and well-maintained beauty. It was strange like that. The air smelt of delightful lilacs, roses, and wood smoke, but that had to come from the house behind me because there was no chance whatsoever that this target house was that nice to smell, and it left the taste of picnics on my tongue from my childhood. Yet at least the world was silent without a twig breaking, a dog barking, or even a car driving past. With any luck, that also meant there would be no witnesses to me saving the poor soul I had been paid to. The house itself was probably the oddest on the entire street, because it was made completely from red brick, instead of the classic brown and yellow that made up the rest of the houses on the street. And it was the only detached house. All the others were semis, and both houses either side of it were abandoned. Of course, I couldn't say with any certainty whatsoever that the neighbors fled because of who lived in this house, but it wouldn't have surprised me. From the back garden, the house had a very nice copper-colored pair of French doors, which was perfect, because they were so easy to break into. Perfect. You see, I was here because 2 nights ago, Dory Billhorn contacted me requesting help to rescue her father after he had been kidnapped by drug dealers, because Dory's young brother had become a dealer but used all the product instead of selling it, so the gang had kidnapped the father to make the son pay. Well, that was all well and good, until the son, aged 22, had been stabbed 10 times by a petty thief who had followed the son from the bank to a dark alley. That was very stupid, in my opinion. The son should have had an escort with the money, and certainly not gone into any dark alleys, but I know it was my job to help save the father from the mistakes of the son. Definitely a new phrase that I haven't heard before, and I had managed to track down the father and kidnappers to this house in particular. I always carried a pistol, a crowbar, and a small black bag filled with some other goodies when I do a job because I simply never knew what I was going to need. 5 minutes, a man said next to me. I jumped and instantly cursed myself as I snapped a very large twig. A mistake that could kill me in most situations. "We breach in 2 minutes," a man said. I looked behind me, and I was just shocked. There was a beautiful man crouching there wearing all military gear, a very hot look, leather boots, and the cutest face I had ever seen. He couldn't be any older than me at 26, and he was just perfect. His face was a little pointy, his eyes were wide and innocent, and there was just something about him. He really was just stunningly perfect, sexy, and downright beautiful. But why was he here? I was extremely careful in covering my tracks and making sure that whatever job I was on was a secret. It couldn't be traced back to me because if I ever got caught, then I was going to die, be imprisoned, or I don't know. "Who the hell are you?" I asked, very quietly. "Former SAS," the hot man said. I simply nodded. That meant the man was even more trained than MI6 officers, commandos, and basically this hottie was the best of the best, except for the little fact that I didn't believe him. Since why the hell would a 26-year-old SAS officer simply quit or retire? He was lying. "Why are you former?" The hot man grinned. "Because my boss wanted to send me and my friends into a suicide mission. We went. I was the only one that survived, and I killed him because he was insane." My stomach churned, and to my surprise it actually filled with butterflies. I fully admit that this hottie might have killed a man for bad reasons, but I just sort of got the sense that he was a good person at heart, like me. And we both just do things in illegal and criminal ways to get the job done. I carefully took out my pistol with its silencer attached and aimed it towards the house. "Why are you here?" The hottie shrugged. "The daughter knew me from school, and she told me about her father's problems, and I just wanted to meet you. You certainly are cuter in person than on the daughter's phone." I just grinned. Maybe this hottie was smarter and hotter than I ever thought possible. "Breach," the hottie said. We both silently ran across the lawn. We both went either side of the French doors. I felt the icy cold brick against my back, and I aimed my gun ready to move. There was a small stone statue next to me. I picked it up, throwing it through the French door. The hottie laughed. Shouts came from inside. I didn't dare look round to look inside the house. That would have been a death sentence. Moments later, 3 tall men dressed in black stepped out. I shot 2 in the head. The hottie snapped one man's neck. 3 corpses laid in front of the door, ready for their friends to see. I heard 2 people whispering. They were getting louder and louder. A man jumped out, charging at me. He was fast. He kicked me in the chest. My gun flew out of my hands. My head whacked the wall. He punched me. Again and again. I blocked, jumping forward, knocking the man off balance. The man headbutted me. He leapt up, jumping into the air, landing my shoulders. He wrapped his leg around me. He squeezed. He was choking me. I ran backwards, slamming him against the wall of the house. He screamed. His grip tightened. I was really choking. I gasped the air. I slammed myself against the wall. He screamed. His grip loosened. I gripped his legs off me. I threw him by the legs off me. He flew through the air. He landed gracefully, whipping out a gun. He fired. I dived to one side. I found my gun. I jumped up, shot him in the head. A loud snap echoed through the entire street as the hottie finished up with his own kill. I looked at the hottie, and he really was beautiful. We had both just been in a terrible fight, but he still looked so perfect, seductive, and alluring. There was probably so much history to him, so much past to discover, and so much heartbreaking to explore. I so badly wanted to explore all of that, and so much more with him because he really was stunning. But I had to focus on the mission now, because there was an innocent person that needed to be saved. Me and the hottie went through the French doors with our guns raised, and I was surprised at how wonderful the dining and living room were. The walls were painted blood red. There was a large oak dining table in the middle of the room, and then down the other end there were some sofas. I really didn't care too much about the mugs on the coffee table, but if they were a reliable indicator of the enemy, then there would still be 2 more people to kill. But the smell was off. I had rescued a ton of people over the years, and I just knew that kidnappers always made their victims wee, poo, and vomit over themselves at least once or twice before they were given bathroom privileges. That always left the smell of those things in the air, and this house didn't smell like that at all. The house was perfectly clean and sterile. "Show yourself," I said. I loved hearing the hottie gasp, as he finally understood it as well. A moment later, a brown wooden door opened, and a middle-aged man who was bruised and blackened stumbled into the living room with a pistol to his head, and a supposedly beautiful woman walked in wearing a flowery dress. A very short flowery dress that was way too short for a cold day. I heard 3 more men walk up behind us. Damn it. This wasn't good at all. "It seems my distraction plan worked," the daughter said. I was about to pull my pistol on the hottie, but he just shook his head, and he seemed really pissed. Like this was the first time he knew that he was being set up. "She isn't wrong," I said, grinning. "You really were stunning, and maybe if you weren't here I would have detected this deception sooner." The hottie grinned back. "She played us both. I normally pick up on things like this, so you are cute too." Only cute. I wanted to talk about that with him then and there, but we needed to escape first. Then the middle-aged man smiled at me, and I shot him. The daughter fell to the floor, kissing her father and checking for a pulse. "This wasn't a kidnapping. You beat up your own father for show," I said. The daughter slapped her father's body and stood up. "You aren't wrong. He wasn't in charge of the drug operation, but we just wanted to prove a point to my idiot brother." The hottie stepped forward. "Let me guess you run a drug business but don't take drugs yourself." The daughter nodded. "None of us do. It's a condition of their employment. Drugs destroy lives, they kill people, and I value my workers too much to lose them to addiction." I just shook my head. I actually did understand what she was saying, but she was just so stupid. I heard the 3 men behind us take 2 steps closer. "Why bring us here?" the hottie asked. The daughter shrugged. "Because one of my competitors was looking into hiring you both. You 2 are the only local and effective assassins in the business. No one else dares challenge me." Again, I could understand that, and it was good to know that I had a reputation after all the time, but enough was enough. I shot the daughter in the head. I jumped to the ground. Bullets screamed through the air. I spun around on the floor. I shot a man in the head. The hottie hissed. 2 men shot the hottie. The hottie fell. He hissed. I screamed in rage. I leapt up, charging at the idiots. Their guns were empty. I leapt into the air, kicking them in the head. One man's neck crunched. His corpse fell. The last man got me into a headlock. He slammed my body against the table. The table cracked. He was choking me. I struggled. I kicked. I punched. Nothing worked. I felt around his wrist. He had to have a knife or something. The man screamed. The hottie fired his gun. The man's corpse dropped. I fell to the ground with him. I slowly got up and smiled at the really hot man that was standing right in front of me. I noticed he was wearing a bulletproof vest, and I just really looked at him for a moment. I admired his large, beautiful muscles and the little veins that defined his now exposed arms, his perfect pointy face that I wanted nothing more than to simply grab, pull closer and kiss, and I really did love his eyes. They were almost like golden whiskey, colored beacons of light and hope, and maybe love in the darkness that was the world I lived in. It was only then that I realized that my life of hunting down bad guys, saving the innocent, and living in the moment was extremely busy. The only time I really allowed myself to have enough free time to have cheap sex was around my birthday in November. How lame was that? But for the first time in years, in a shot-up house that smelt of vaporized blood, gunshots, and oak, I actually felt drawn to a beautiful and very capable man. And even better, he was actually into me as well. Am I really only cute? I asked, especially when I said you were hot. The hottie smiled and took a few steps closer to me. He looked me up and down and smiled. Well, I like what I see, and I really like the man I fought next to. We could save a lot of people together. I shrugged like that was something I wasn't interested in, even though I was so pretending. We could explore a lot together too. I took a few steps closer to him and pulled at his bulletproof vest, and he got so close to me that I felt his wonderfully warm, minty-scented breath on my face. He really was so cute. No cops are going to come for ages, the hottie said. We could see what the Billhorn family has in the kitchen. I'll cook and we can get to know each other. I grinned like the little schoolboy I really felt like around him. Sure, but I would at least like to know your name. The hottie laughed. Oh yes, sorry. My name is Hunter Crow. As I watched the hot, sexy man walk away from me to find the kitchen, and I really focused on his wonderful ass, I simply laughed to myself because that really was the perfect name for a person who hunted down bad people and saved the innocent. Just like me.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.